Okay, to do a 30-minute lesson, I usually have 21 slides. Today we have 37. So buckle up, and it's going to be kind of like what Chris did for the second chapter, and that was there were gusts up to 350 words per minute every now and then. So it's going to be quick. Real quick, review. Chapter 1. Nebuchadnezzar captures Jerusalem. The key Israelites are taken to Babylon. Daniel and his friends were promoted. Chapter 2 was Nebuchadnezzar's first dream, and Daniel did the interpretation that God had given him. Chapter 3 was the fiery furnace, which was 3 weeks ago, and then we skipped last week. And then today we're in chapter 4. Chapter 4, it's going to be Nebuchadnezzar's final dream. Daniel interprets it, and it's Nebuchadnezzar's conversion. So that's where we're headed. As it turns out, Nebuchadnezzar reigned over 43 years. The first couple of chapters all occurred early on in the first year of his reign. We don't know exactly the date when the fiery furnace happened, but the Septuagint, when the Jews put that together, it was recorded at that time that was around the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar. So it put him somewhere right before the temple was destroyed. Well, today's lesson is somewhere around the last, I'm guessing, 10 years of his reign. And so this is the time period that we've covered. And from here on out, we kind of jump around, some earlier, some later. So we bounce back and forth. Okay, here we go. Verse 1, Nebuchadnezzar the king, to all the peoples, the nations, the people of every language that live in all the earth, may your peace abound. It seems good to me, and to declare the signs and wonders which the Most High God, that's what he's now calling Daniel's God, the Most High God done for me. How great are his signs, how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. This is an email that went out. This is Facebook. He put it on everything that he had at the time. And so this went out to everybody. From this verse, from this first verse, what do you think the status of the kingdom was? What couple of words might you use to describe how the kingdom's doing, Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom? I'm sorry? Bad? Better. Okay, yeah, I would say it's very strong and it's very peaceful. Peace, may your peace abound. And so it sounds like that Nebuchadnezzar's in control, everything is going well, and it's a peaceful time. And so he sends this out and he says, I want everybody to know what this Most High God has done for me. It's worldwide, it's peaceful, and he gives his testimony, so to speak. This is the Chaldean world at that time, and he had captured Egypt and all the remaining area in that area, basically the whole Fertile Crescent that they call it there. And so things are going well. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at ease in my house and flourishing in my palace. That kind of gives you the same feeling, doesn't it? Everything's going well. Nebuchadnezzar's kicked back, so to speak. He doesn't have a war going, and he's flourishing. I saw a dream. It made me fearful. These fantasies, as I lay on my bed, and the visions in my mind kept alarming me. So I gave orders to bring into my presence the wise men of Babylon. Here they come. And the magicians, the conjurers, the sorcerers, the Chaldeans, the diviners, and they couldn't make the interpretation known to me. So, has he ever seen that before? Yeah. This is many years later. I don't know if it's the same crew. If it is, they haven't improved. If it's not, they didn't get any better either on the second team. Okay. So, look at this. But finally, Daniel came in before me, whose name is Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And I related the dream to him, saying, O Belteshazzar. Now, if Xander ever comes to me and says, O Garth, keeper of the tools, the one who likes to do projects, who likes to work on things, what do you think is going to go through my mind? Oh boy. Do I run? We got another project coming. I wonder what she's thinking. Look at this. Anybody puts O in front of your name, watch out, okay? O Belteshazzar, chief of the magicians, spirit of the holy gods is in you. No mystery baffles you. He's setting him up because here it comes. He says, tell me the visions and interpret. Well, this time Daniel doesn't have to tell him the visions. He just has to interpret because Nebuchadnezzar is going to tell him. Two things come to mind. I've got them underlined. But finally, Daniel came in before me. Makes you wonder something. What? Finally, he calls Daniel. Why didn't he call him to begin with? You know? But no, he said, I'm going to use my team and everything else. But finally, he's bring Daniel in. And the other is according to the name of my God. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. Okay. Nebuchadnezzar, might I suggest, is a slow learner because he had seen the wise men back in chapter 2, right? Many years earlier. Daniel had satisfied because he told him the dream and the interpretation. Nebuchadnezzar had witnessed the fiery furnace and all the things that happened there, and he came up with this phrase, the Most High God, at that point in time. And we say, why didn't he get the picture? But you know, do a little introspection here. Sometimes we do the same thing, that when trouble comes, where do we go? Do we try to fix it ourselves really quick? How quick do we involve God? Finally, we turn to God. And how many times have we done that? Well, as we get older, we learn better, and that's what Nebuchadnezzar is going to do. He's going to learn, finally, some of these points. In all your ways, acknowledge him, the verse that probably we all have memorized, and he will direct your paths. Okay, so here's the vision. Now these are the visions in my mind as I lay on my bed. I was looking, behold, there was a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height was great. And it was large, it was strong, reached to the sky. The whole earth could see it. Foliage was beautiful, fruit was abundant, food for all. The beast used its shade. Birds lived in the branches, and all creatures fed themselves. And that was, I guess, confusing, because he's saying, basically, as he sat there, explain this. And he's wondering this in mind. And he says, as I was looking in the visions, here it comes, kind of phase 2 of the vision. Lay on my bed, behold, an angelic watcher, a holy one, descended from heaven. And he shouted out, said, chop down the tree, cut off the branches, strip the foliage, scatter the fruit, let the beast flee, and the birds, they need to go too. Leave the stump and the roots, and not only that, put a band of iron and bronze around the stump. And so he said, okay, I didn't understand the first one. I don't understand this. What is this? And these are things going through his mind. And the dream continues. It says, let him be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let him share in the beast and the grass. Let his mind be changed from that of a man to a beast. And let a beast mind be given to him. And let 7 periods of time pass over him. And he's thinking, okay, I didn't understand the first 2. Who is this? Who is him? And the sentence then is, and the angelic watcher then says this, the sentence is by the decree of the angelic watchers, and the decision is a command of the holy ones. I hope when you saw that word angelic watchers, that a verse came to mind, 1 Peter chapter 1, and that is, things in which the angels long to look. They don't understand God's plan, but it's very interesting to them. And it says that things of God's plan that was revealed over time, that the angels longed to look into this, and they had watched to see what was going on. And it's another one of these things that the angelic watchers were involved in this, but they just didn't understand the big picture until it was revealed. So that's what's going on behind the scenes in heaven. Angels long to look. And then the reason for the dream is given. In order that the living may know that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind, bestows on it whom he wishes, and sets it over the lowest of men. Now, who is the living? So what is this? Who are these? What is the living? And he's all confused. And he turns to Daniel and he says, this is the dream which I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Belteshazzar, tell me its interpretation. Nobody else can, but you are able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in you. And so, then Daniel, whose name is Belteshazzar, was appalled for a while as his thoughts alarmed him. Can you see this scene? You've got the king, you've got Daniel, he's been told the dream, and it says he was appalled for a while. What do you think's going on with Daniel's face? The more he sees the interpretation, what's going on, he becomes alarmed. And you could just see the king watching Daniel, and now Daniel is having this revealed to him, and it says, and his thoughts alarmed him. And you can imagine that all of a sudden he would react in a certain way and maybe have a 1,000-yard stare. I don't know what was going on. Anyway, to all of that, the king says, the king responded and said, Belteshazzar, do not let this dream or interpretation alarm you. He is seeing something in Daniel that he said, I still need to know the dream, even though it's upsetting you. And then Daniel responds, my Lord, if only the dream applied to those who hate you, and its interpretation to its adversaries. And so he is really struggling with this. And so he said, here's the story. The tree became large and strong, reached to the sky, visible to all the earth, foliage beautiful, and he described what Nebuchadnezzar had said, food for all, beasts live under it. And he said, this is a picture of you, O king, great, strong, majesty reached to the sky, dominion over the earth. Had the king ever heard anything like that before? That was the second dream. The second chapter. You're the head of gold, this giant statue. Your dominion is strong, and you're as strong as anybody's ever going to be. And now all of a sudden, this is a picture of you, O king. What do you think is going on in Nebuchadnezzar's mind at that point?
Probably thought it was going to be some good news.
Yeah, I'm liking this dream. This is good. Buttons popping off his vest. I bet the crown was feeling a little tight as his head was swelling. And he's saying, this is really good. But now about the Holy One and the stump. Chop it down, destroy it, leave the stump, leave the roots, put a bronze ring around it. And let him be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let him share with the beasts of the field until 7 periods of time passed over him. O king, this is the decree of the Most High, which is come upon my Lord. Now this phrase, this is the decree of the Most High. We have a phrase for today. We have a saying of what that really means. You know what it is? Don't shoot the messenger. This is the decree of the Most High. Daniel's saying, I'm not making this up. This is from them. And so you can see maybe stepping back a little bit on that, which has come upon my Lord the King. You'll be driven away from mankind. You won't be in control. Your dwelling place will be at the beast, grass to eat like cattle, be drenched with heaven's dew. 7 periods of time will pass over you until you recognize that the Most High is the ruler over the realm of mankind and bestows on it whomever he wishes. Until you recognize, which means he hadn't recognized it. And that is what the living may know. He's talking about you, King Nebuchadnezzar. You are the living. So how do you reconcile this phrase? This is the phrase that he sent out to all the nations. This is what the Most High God has done for me. How great are his signs, mighty are his works. His kingdom is everlasting. His dominion is from generation to generation. That's what he sent out. Now, until you recognize that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind and bestows it on it whomever it wishes. These two are in opposite. They're opposing one another. How great are his signs, and now this second saying. What's going on here? Well, the first memo went out, this is what God has done for me. It's like God is my subservient. God is the one who is God is the one who's providing all these things for me. I'm the focal point. And now it says, until you recognize that the Most High is the ruler himself, he's not working for you. You're working for him. And in that it was commanded to leave the stump and the roots on the tree. Your kingdom will be assured to you after you recognize that it's heaven who rules. It gives a little bit of hope to Nebuchadnezzar. Therefore, O king, may my advice be pleasing to you. Break away now from your sins by doing righteousness, and from your iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, in case that there may be a prolonging of your prosperity. What do you think he's been doing? What are his sins? What are his iniquities? Well, the place is at rest. What do you think Nebuchadnezzar has been doing? He's really turned inward, hasn't he? You see me, you see mine.
All that power goes to your head.
Yeah, and he has been successful. He is the head of gold. There's no, God's saying you are that, but you're missing a point, Nebuchadnezzar. 7 periods of time will pass over you until you recognize that the Most High is the ruler over the realm of mankind, not you, my parenthesis, and bestows on it whomever he wishes, and he has bestowed it upon you, but you're not the one in charge. God is teaching Nebuchadnezzar a lesson on humility. Okay, if I ask you to draw an organizational chart, just a general organizational chart, what would you draw? Well, I don't have time. Let me tell you what your answer is, okay? It would look something like that, right? I mean, the king's at the top, the CEO's at the top, the chairman of the board, however the organization is organized, but there's the top one. And then the lieutenants under that. Where is the work done? Down at the bottom, right? If you had to draw an organizational chart for God's attitude for the kingdom, what would it look like? See if these words don't ring true. The greatest is to be your servant. The 12 struggled with that even up to the last Lord's Supper. Who's going to be the greatest? Can one sit on the right? Can one sit on the left? They argued, made some of the others mad. It was just a constant fight. That fight goes on every day in every organization in many ways. Look at this. When you go to a banquet, don't go to the top table and sit down. Take the lowest seat. If you go to the front table and you sit down and they come and they say, Garth, we need this chair, then you've been embarrassed, you've been shamed. If you go and sit at the lowest and they call you up because it's the right thing to do, now you've been honored. So this is the mindset. Look at this. If I, your master, can wash your feet, what's the rest of it? Shouldn't you wash others? Except you become as a little child. And finally, consider others more important than yourself. This is the attitude chart that God wants his people to have. And there's others I could have added to this. At one time in my career, I had a sales team. I would tell the salespeople, your job as a salesperson is to make everybody else look good. To the customer, you represent the factory. And you need to be a good representation of the factory. To the factory, you represent the customer. And so you've done a really good job when everybody else looks good. Same true for a lot of different assignments. It's good for life too. If you can make everybody else look good, it doesn't really matter because everything else will work out for you. Okay, 1 year later, Nebuchadnezzar is sitting on in his castle or wherever it is that he is, and he looks out over Babylon. Is this not Babylon? Okay, Mark, I need you to count. Let's count the personal pronouns. Is this not Babylon, which there's one, hold your hand up high so they can see it. I myself, so we got two side by side, have built as a royal residence by the might of my power, number 3, and for the glory of my majesty. You see his focus? It says, well, let me back up just a minute. The reason why Nebuchadnezzar is feeling this way is he had been very successful. He had just built one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Only one of those 7 exists today, the pyramids. I read one writer said the reason why that was built, his wife, who was a Mede, came from Medea. She didn't like how flat it was. You saw the pictures of Baghdad during the Iraqi War, right? It's, as Merle Haggard said, you can watch your dog run away from home for 3 days. And so she said, I miss the trees, I miss the mountains, I miss the animal. And so he built the gardens there, and fantastic thing. And a real 7-minute, I won't tell you, you don't have time. Okay. Nebuchadnezzar, your sovereignty has been removed from you. It says, while these words were still in his mouth, this happened. And you'll be driven away from mankind. Your dwelling place will be with the beast, grass to eat like cattle drenched in heaven dew. I read, and this is the first time I had read this, and maybe you already know this, but they said in this hanging gardens there was also a zoo and maybe that's where they put Nebuchadnezzar. They put him and drove him away from mankind, put him in with the animals. 7 periods of time will pass over you until you recognize that the Most High is ruler over mankind, and it says it happened immediately. Between verse 33 of chapter 4 and verse 34, there's 7 years. And all of a sudden, 7 years later, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes toward heaven. My reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High and praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. And all, this one's key, really key, and all inhabitants of the earth are accounted as nothing. And he didn't say it, but including me. But he does according to his will, and it's done in the host of heaven and also among the inhabitants of the earth, and no one can ward off his hand, and they can't even say, "What have you done?" He finally came around to thinking that. Look at this. 7 time periods later, his reason was restored, his majesty and his splendor for the glory of his kingdom was restored. Counselors and nobles again sought him. The sovereignty was reestablished, and surpassing greatness was given to him. Last verse in the chapter. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, exalt, and honor the King of heaven, for all his works are true, and his ways are just, and he is able to humble those who walk in pride. What's the theme of chapter 4? It started out in verse 2, it seemed to me to declare the signs and the wonders which the Most High God has done for me. And he wound up saying, verse 37, I now praise him. I will tell transgressors of these, this is from David, the struggle that he had. I will tell transgressors of thy ways, and many sinners will be converted to you. David was humbled when he was confronted with his sin. May the redeemed of the Lord say so. Just pulled a few verses here. And for us, therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ, that through that as though God was making an appeal through us, we beg you on behalf of Christ to be reconciled to God. Let's see, I'm going to skip this one. And if you're a speed reader, you got it. Look at this. What confirmation came from his dreams? Had Nebuchadnezzar ever acknowledged the authority earlier? Well, yes, he had. He had said that, Daniel, your God is a God of gods. The miracle at the furnace, the godly man on fire, that now the angelic watcher, the Most High God. This was a 35-year conversion process that Nebuchadnezzar went through. He first started out and he said, Daniel, you've got the spirit of the gods in you. But he was willing to give all of those different gods a certain place. And in fact, even when he sent out the memo to everybody, it even says that he said that, but my God, Belteshazzar's name is the name from my God. So he was still clinging to his ways. But he started with the spirit of the gods. Now it's the Most High God. And finally, at the end, he is said, God is the God. Why did the interpretation of the king's dream bother Daniel? It didn't involve him. Even though he was a captive, he knew God was working and God was sovereign. And he must have liked the king. I think this was one of the points that was made earlier in one of the other lessons. Can you think of another time when a Hebrew captive, thought highly of her master? Remember Naaman, captain of the Syrian guard? His captive servant girl said, I wish my master was with the prophet in Samaria to cure his leprosy. How long did it take for the dream to be true? Began 1 year later, lasted 7 years. How did the king's reign at the end compare to his former reign? Like Job's, surpassing greatness was added. So he was even stronger at the end. What New Testament parable or story comes to mind? The prodigal son, Paul's conversion, or a couple. Look at this. Nebuchadnezzar, pride, he's humbled, and then honor. The prodigal son, independence, humbled, then the honor. Paul, godly zeal, humbled, then honored. Conclusion, one doesn't know God until one is humbled. Pride is a serious problem with God. James says that God is opposed to the proud. Now, having God just let you do one thing, but when God is opposed to you, you are fighting against God. But he gives grace to the humble. It's the reason why it says in Hebrews that every son that he has, he corrects. He trains us all on this item of humility. Sign of a good heart, always acknowledge a higher power. Sorry, I kept you over by 1 minute. Go off this week and make somebody else's life exciting because of something you did to make them feel good.